Hello everyone, this is a math PowerPoint for first grade students. This is in a virtual setting. This exact lesson is for collecting and organizing data using charts and graphs, specifically tally charts. I like to begin each of my sessions with just this welcome slide. It usually says welcome and then says the specific subject on it. And then I usually state the date, the day of the week, and the exact date and the year. I also like to include the materials that students will need to use for the lesson. I also put on there the pictures because they are first grade students, so some of them are unable to read yet, so providing the pictures is super helpful. I allow them to use paper and pencil, a whiteboard and markers, really whatever they can use and or find, as long as they have something that works for me. I know that sometimes things can get lost, so as long as they have something or they're using fingers for this lesson, it is preferred to use something to write on. And then we use a curriculum called iReady, so I usually like to provide the picture of the book in there with the exact volume just to help students see exactly what it is that they need for their workbooks. And then underneath, as you can see, I have an I can statement. That is the standard. I can collect, organize, and represent data with charts and graphs, and make comparison and equality statements about data sets using addition and subtraction. So that is just to go over with the students to show them what they will be learning for that day. On our next slide, I have our classroom expectations. I like to go over these every day. Sometimes I will read them if we're running short on time. Sometimes I like to choose almost like a leader of the day, so they will go through and read them. If there's a lot of time for that class period, I will have someone read one, and then popcorn, they can choose another friend to read another one, and so on and so forth. If we don't have time, I will just say them, and then my friends will repeat them with me. It's funny, I don't mean to go back, but it's funny when we do this, the last one, the try your best, they know that that is the one that is my most important rule, and I always say it's our most important rule, and they always know, and I always do a little hand motion, try your best. Just because they're first graders, they need that little confidence boost. I've especially noticed this year that students need the extra rewards in so much of just the words that we use, just the recognition, saying great job, you can do it. I like to use a lot of mindful moments as well throughout our days, just to kind of say, I can do it, I'm going to try my best, it's okay to make mistakes, and it seems to help. I also like to start our lesson with a little warm-up, usually a video of some sort. I also like to try my best to connect it to the lessons, so this one is specifically a video about tally charts and with dinosaurs. My friends this year absolutely love dinosaurs, so I tried to find a video that tailored to their interests as best as I can. So this definitely tailors to what they like a lot, and it just kind of helps to go over those tally charts. Now, this lesson will have been about a week or so of going over tally charts. So by this time, they should already know what tally charts look like and how to use them, how to count them at this point. This is also in a Class for Zoom setting virtually. I also have used Neuro and regular Zoom as well. So this first page here, it just says, let's practice tally marks together. Once again, I just provide the materials that our friends will need, whether it's the paper and the pencil or the whiteboard and the marker. I also personally like to use my DocCam a lot. I notice myself using that more often than sometimes even using the slides. I'll use the slides as just kind of to show the friends, maybe like an image, for instance, like this. But I switch back and forth a lot between my DocCam because I like to, it's like my whiteboard. I like to really just show them how to do things. So on this slide here, you're going to see lots of different food items. I chose these just based off of what our friends always talk about in class. And so now we are reading this tally chart. It is the food that, what people like the most. So on our right side there, it says people who like it the most. So we have French fries, pasta, and hamburgers. And so as a class, I would ask friends how many friends chose French fries as their favorite food. And I would call on a friend. I like to use popsicle sticks that have their names on them, mainly because it allows everyone to get a fair turn, and just to ensure that everyone is getting a turn, to make sure that everyone is practicing. So we'll go through that together, and I might even have some friends, I like to allow them to use their whiteboard. So I might have all friends write down what is the number that how many people chose French fries as their favorite food. And so they would write down the number 4, show me with their whiteboards. Class for Zoom has a privacy mode where other friends are not allowed to see their boards. So sometimes, just because I know some of our friends have wandering eyes, I sometimes turn that on during moments like this, and then I will turn it off immediately, just so I can make sure that they are all trying on their own. I also like to give out virtual stars in the Classroom Zoom setting. It allows you to give out stars to friends. I find this to be very motivating for my friends. So when I see that they're getting it right, or even if they're trying and maybe they got it wrong, I still give them a star, and they get so excited their face lights up. Oh, I got a star. So it seems to motivate them, and it works towards our class reward. Our class rewards change all the time. We decide it together as a class. So far this year we've done a pajama day and a show and tell day. A lot of my friends wanted to show their pets this year, but anyway, so we'll go through this entire page here with the spaghetti and the hamburgers, just going through. I'll even call on students and ask, how do you know that? I like to ask those open-ended questions just to kind of get their understanding, and that way their peers can hear their understanding. Maybe they think of it another way. I've noticed that when we've done addition and subtraction this year, some of my friends add and subtract in very different ways, so I really like to call on them and almost spotlight them to show their thinking and their understanding of everything. And then, so like I say, together we will count and just answer these as a whole class. I like now this I did create personally just before usually we use our curriculum, but I found this to be a little bit of a fun activity for friends, especially because they love to talk about food all the time. So I found this to be exciting. Normally we do follow the curriculum pretty heavily using our workbook pages and the slides that are provided to us. But every now and then I like to throw in some fun slides. But normally what I like to do is I like to do an I do, we do, you do. So this problem would be an I do. They'll see me doing it. I'll ask them to help answer, and then from there I will go and we'll kind of answer all of these together. I have a few questions on the board. How many people liked hamburgers the most? And so we'll write that down together. How many people liked pasta the most? How many people liked French fries the most? And then I also included a little bit of a harder question. How many people liked pasta and French fries? So that they have to combine both of those. So that's also then including that addition skill that we have practiced before. And then what I like to do quite often, is do a thumb check. I like to say, give me a thumbs up if you are understanding what we're doing. Give me that shaky thumb if you're just a little confused, and give me a thumbs down if you're way, way confused. And so this kind of helps me gauge, are students understanding what they're doing? Do they need any help? And I like to use this a lot, very often in the lessons, and especially at the end. And I take the time, if they have any questions, to address the questions then. So then it goes into the we do, very similar. Instead of the food items, now we have the crayons. So very similarly, just going through these, how many friends chose purple, pink, orange, And then these questions, actually, I related them to kind of the comparing. So which color got the least amount of votes? Which color got the greatest amount of votes? And how many people like pink the most? So just kind of tying in that comparing, because we also have worked on comparing numbers as well. So it's just a good review to kind of work on things that we have already worked on to refresh their memory. Then I like to, about halfway through, or really I just kind of gauge it as to when I see that students are losing interest or growing tiresome. I like to provide a brain break. I really think movement is super important, especially in a virtual environment when they're sitting most of the time staring at a computer. I even try my best to include a lot of movement into our lessons as best I can, but this provides a good time to move if anyone needs to go to the bathroom, or maybe they just want to walk around their house or wherever they are. I notice a lot of them do the brain breaks that I provide, so I try my best to find videos that I know that they will like and enjoy. Then I created this really fun activity, data around the room. So this will get friends really talking and sharing. So what I might do is I could do this whole group. I can do this in breakout rooms. I can have friends. I have a bunch of questions on here. What is your favorite color? What is your favorite subject? How many pets do you have? How old are you? How many siblings do you have? So a fun activity I might do is put friends into a breakout room with partners or a small group, and they can answer these all together, and then we can come back as a whole group, and the idea is to create a tally chart together. Another way that I could do this is by just asking everyone as a whole group, picking my sticks, and then we as a whole group can create that tally chart together. It really just gets that the talking in, the chatting. Sometimes I know there isn't always time for that, but it allows the friends to be able to talk about themselves and just have fun with the lesson as well. I think having fun is the most important thing. Who wants to be bored learning, right? So I try my best to include something fun in there for them. And then this would be the you do part. So at this time, I might break up friends into breakout rooms. One of the breakout rooms might be just work on your workbook pages. So for instance, this is from our workbook where they would have to make the picture graph, fill in how many of each, then make the tally graph. And then I would provide, it depends on how many questions there would be, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. And then I might even, if I notice that some friends are struggling still, I like to keep some back and just kind of do like an extra small mini lesson just to reinforce the lesson even more and provide any help that I can for those students that are struggling. I like to provide breakout rooms as much as I can, especially even if it means that they're just working silently or with a friend, just trying to figure it out together. And like I say, it also then provides me that time to work with students to who need that extra support. So, and then what I like to do is after that 5, 10, however many minutes I give them, I'll bring them back into a whole group and then we will review it together. I think it's super important that we come back and review together as a whole group to make sure that everyone got the questions correct, answer any questions that friends may have, and then just really giving that peer interaction, that here's how I got to my answer, here's what I got, and just sharing that out. And then at the very end, I like to do some sort of an exit ticket or a check for understanding. This is where sometimes I like to use our polling tools. So for instance, it says, how many tally marks is this? And then they have the different emojis that they can choose from. And it's just a really quick understanding for me to see who's understanding and who is not. And then at the very end, it says, great work. Be sure to complete all your math Schoology. We'll go over our Schoology assignment. I'll show them everything. And then if they have any questions, they can ask then. And usually it just says, see you either in the next class or see you tomorrow. And then I stay for any questions at the end. So that's pretty much it. I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you so much.